Okay, now let's go to the next part here. I have been salivating to get to this. Michael Schellenberger over at his newsletter publishing an absolutely shocking new report. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Quote, US has 12 or more alien spacecraft, according to military and intelligence contractors. So Michael is reporting this after Dave Grush came forward to give us the broad contours of the program. He said the United States government is lying to the American people. There are multiple alien spacecraft which are in the possession of the United States government, of which they have covered up now for decades and which they have obfuscated from Congress. Crimes themselves have been committed. Here is why this is very important. Michael writes, quote, multiple sources close to the matter have come forward to tell public that Grush's core claims are accurate. The individuals are all either high-ranking intelligence officials, former intelligence officials, or individuals that we could verify were involved in the U.S. government UAP, aka UFO efforts, for 3 or more decades each. 2 of them have even testified as recently as last year to both the committee investigating this inside the Pentagon and to the United States Congress. The individuals says they have been presented with credible and verifiable evidence. The U.S. government and U.S. military contractors possess at least 12 or more alien spacecraft, some of which have been shared with the Pentagon office responsible for testifying before Congress and which they have refused to currently provide. Now, this is very important. They are putting a number, 12 or more. That is either true or it's not true. That's something that Congress can look into and tell us whether this claim is accurate or it's not accurate. The more specific that these things get, the more it becomes difficult for them to deny or not. This also comes on the heels of a statement, actually, from the Pentagon directly refuting this claim. Let's go ahead, guys, and put the Fox News tear sheet here up on the screen, because after Dave Grush came forward, the Pentagon released a very lengthy statement. Susan Go, who UFO people will be familiar with, said directly, there is, quote, no verifiable information to substantiate the claims. She says, quote, to date, Arrow, this office, has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession of reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. She also said that they welcome the opportunity to speak with any former or current government employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to the historical review. Now, the reason why I think this is important is there was the one caveat word in there, verifiable. And the reason why is because verifiable is one where as long as there is plausible deniability, at least somewhere baked into the documents, they can come forward and say there's no verifiable information that this program has existed or whatever in the past. As long as it's even 1% in their dispute, there are always holes in these words and in their denials that have come forward around this office that they say they haven't been presented to. But also, there's a formal presentation process. They can say that it wasn't done in the right way. There are all many different holes that they can jump their way through, Crystal. So I think if you pair a couple of things together, Dave Grush is obviously an incredibly highly credible person. I encourage people watch the News Nation documentary. Dave Grush is grilled. He's asked very specific and difficult questions. He handles them well. People who knew him while he was in the office have come forward to testify. This is not a crank. This is a real person. You need to take what he's saying very seriously. On top of that, we have this new report from Michael Schellenberger making things even more specific, saying multiple intelligence former contractors coming forward, talking to them, talking to him about what has inside of this office. And we continue to see the Pentagon. They're not budging at all. And look, someone is lying. Either Grush is lying and the sources to Michael Schellenberger are lying, or the Pentagon is lying. And I'll let people make up their minds. So what do you make of this new breaking material from Michael Schellenberger, Crystal?
I mean, I'm trying as hard as I can to keep my skeptic hat on because I think it's important to do that. And
Yeah, it
it's
is. You're
becoming
right.
very difficult. It's becoming very difficult because
Good.
okay,
Yeah.
it's one thing if it's just one guy, right? That's one thing. You can dismiss him. Oh, sure, his colleague said that he was upstanding. But you never know. People can like lose their marbles and you can or indulge some sort of fantasy or whatever. Like you could potentially dismiss one person and the US government could potentially dismiss one person. Lord knows, I'm sure they're in the process of digging up every, rent bill that was late or time he didn't mow the lawn or whatever they can find on this man, right? So one person is one thing. When you start to have other people who say, yeah, he's right. I, saw evidence of the exact same thing. And when you start to get this level of specificity, I don't know, it becomes increasingly difficult to dismiss, especially given some of the things that we're about to show you, new reports coming out, as we speak, and just, the number of anomalous events that already the government admits, like, they can't really explain. Now they'll try to spin it with their press allies of like, well, we haven't been able to rule in that this is extraterrestrial, but they haven't been able to rule it out either or explain what these objects specifically are. So I think the job of the skeptic is becoming increasingly
Yeah.
difficult to maintain over time.
And listen to the level of specificity they gave Michael. Quote, every 5 years, we get one or two recovered for one reason or another from either a landing or that we catch or that they just crash. A different contractor says, quote, there were at least 4 morphologies, different structures. 6 were in good shape, 6 were in not good shape. They were cases where the craft landed, the occupants left the craft unoccupied. There have been high-level people, including generals, who have placed their hand on the craft. I have no reason to disbelieve them. One source described having seen 3 kinds of craft, including one shaped like a triangle. I wonder where I've seen that one before. Another that, quote, looked up like a chopped up helicopter with the front bubble of a Huey with the plastic windows, or like a deep sea submarine with a thick piece of glass bubble shaped, and where the tail rudder should have been, it was black egg shaped pancake, and instead of landing gear, it had upside down ram's horns that went from the top to the bottom and rested on the ends of the horns. Wow. I mean, look, this person is either schizophrenic or they're telling the truth. And it's one of those where I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the most common, again, let's play the skeptic hat. It could be that Dave Grush and so all of these other people are delusional, are literally psychotic. And I think anybody who has ever interacted with someone who generally has mental illness, Crystal, a lot of them send us emails about things that we just have to report on. It's
Yeah.
possible. They believe it. It's one of those where, you can look in their eyes and you're like, yeah, you believe what you are saying. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that's true. But this is such a credible person. Evidence coming forward with their resume. I mean, just listen to the level of specificity that I just gave everyone. And the problem is that for people, the radar just has to go up of like, come on, this is so fantastical. And look, I agree. And I was that way for a long time. But so many of these people are so credible. People like Commander David Fravor, people like Ryan Graves, who we've had here on the show. I mean, you really want to tell me that they're crazy? I just don't believe you. And this is where, the human instinct has to come into play. And then we also have to combine all of the knowledge that we have outside of the UFO issue about the way that Pentagon lies, they obfuscate, obfuscate information. They withhold things from the American public for decades, like the Pentagon Papers, like Afghanistan, Afghanistan, Vietnam. There's no reason to believe that on a highly secret topic like UFOs, something that would literally shatter the earth if something came forward, in terms of our understanding of consciousness of human nature, that, yeah, they could pull it off and they absolutely would lie to us. So I don't know. I continue. I try my best to play skeptic, but I don't see the holes in the way that a lot of other people do.
The part that's the hardest, maybe, well, I mean, just the whole idea is pretty hard to wrap your head around. But in terms of, our knowledge of our government, how our government operates, et cetera, like, we know certainly they will lie to you every day of the week and not think twice about it, and typically do lie to us every day of the week and not think twice about it. But we also know that there's an operating level of incompetence.
True.
And that's the piece that, does keep me somewhat skeptical, because what they're positing here is a multi-decade, multi-generational cover-up, not only from our own government, but in concert with other governments around the world, again, over decades and decades. Like, would they really be able to orchestrate that? Would they really be able to keep everybody silent? Would they really be able to keep all of this hidden, all of these, 12 plus craft that they have? And those are just the ones in US government possession. Who knows what, Russia, or the former Soviet Union, or Brazil, or whoever else, whatever they've been able to get their hands on. That's the part where I'm like, it's just hard for me to imagine that they would be able to so effectively keep this all under wraps for all of these years. So that's the part that I always get tripped up on, is it's hard for me to believe that they could really effectively do that over all of this time.
Again, I agree. And then, I point back to Charlie Manson. I point back, or think about this. If you want an international conspiracy, Enigma, the Enigma program from that Alan Turing cracked, the
Mhm.
Nazi code. They didn't reveal that they had
Mhm.
cracked that till the 1973, or something like that, the decades after they had done so. And that was literally an international conspiracy spanning multiple different governments, and a lot of people worked on it and knew that it existed and never came out till the
That's
1970s. There's a lot of stuff like that where, look, if you do it the right way, you can keep it a secret. I mean, we spent $10 billion or whatever on the Manhattan program. It didn't leak until we dropped the bomb. So it's not like things can't be done. It just takes a high level of sophistication, the right people in charge. And, maybe they can't do it at a huge government wide scale. Maybe they were able to do it on a UFO wide scale. In other words, Transformers was a documentary. It's a joke.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Soccer and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.